Hey, this is Brooke, functional medicine dietitian specializing in fertility, and this is the Fertility Dietitian podcast, where I help you uncover the barriers that are preventing you from optimizing your fertility and teach you how to work with your body to finally take home a healthy baby. Each week, I will be diving into different topics on fertility and sharing my perspective on physiology, metabolic health, nutrition, and lifestyle approaches that have helped hundreds of couples get pregnant even after years of heartache. My goal is to empower you with the knowledge you need to take back control of your fertility. Happy listening. Hello, and welcome back to the Fertility Dietitian podcast. I'm Brooke, the Fertility Dietitian. If you're here because you've been diagnosed with PCOS, or what is now officially called PMOS, and you've been told that IVF is your next step, this episode is for you. I want to start by saying something that I wish every woman with PMOS would hear. PMOS does not automatically mean IVF. And in many cases, IVF is not addressing the reason your body isn't ovulating or supporting pregnancy in the first place. Today, we're going to talk about a major change that happened in women's health and why the name PCOS was officially changed to PMOS. What this condition is actually telling us about your body and why taking a whole body approach can actually help many women improve ovulation, improve egg quality, improve metabolic health, get pregnant naturally, and build a healthier future long after the positive pregnancy test. Let's dive in. For years, I've said that PCOS is not an ovary problem. It's a metabolic problem that shows up in the ovaries. And now the scientific community is finally catching up. On May 12th, 2026, a landmark global consensus paper officially renamed PCOS to PMOS, which stands for Polyendocrine Metabolic Ovarian Syndrome. This is a huge deal because the old name was wrong. It had always been wrong. The name polycystic ovary syndrome implied that ovarian cysts were the defining feature of the condition, and they're not. Many women diagnosed with PCOS don't actually have ovarian cysts, and many women who do have polycystic appearing ovaries don't meet the criteria for the condition. The name created confusion for many patients and healthcare providers alike. So, unfortunately, that confusion came with consequences, including delayed diagnosis, fragmented care, a narrow focus on the ovaries instead of the whole body, stigma surrounding fertility, patient distress, and major gaps in research and healthcare delivery. But today, PMOS affects roughly 1 in 8 women worldwide. That's about 170 million women during their reproductive years. And up to 70% remain undiagnosed. Think about that. Millions of women struggling with symptoms, fertility challenges, metabolic dysfunction, fatigue, acne, hair loss, irregular cycles, anxiety, weight concerns, and pregnancy complications without ever receiving the right answers or direction. The new name matters because it much more accurately reflects what is actually happening. So let's break it down. Polyendocrine means multiple hormone systems are involved, not just reproductive hormones. We're talking about insulin and cortisol, androgens, ovarian hormones, thyroid hormones, and nervous system signaling. Metabolic acknowledges something we've known for years. Insulin resistance is present in approximately 85% of women with PMOS. And importantly, it affects about 75% of lean women with PMOS too. And this is one of the biggest misconceptions I see. You do not have to be overweight to have insulin resistance. You do not have to be overweight to struggle with blood sugar regulation. And you absolutely do not have to be overweight to have PMOS. Ovarian remains the name because ovarian dysfunction is often involved. But it is only one piece of the puzzle. PMOS is a multi-system condition, not just a reproductive condition. And that is exactly why a whole body approach works so well. When we improve the health of the entire system, the ovaries often respond beautifully. Now let's talk about why IVF becomes a default recommendation. In conventional fertility care, IVF is often viewed as the quickest path to pregnancy. And I can understand why. It can help bypass some challenges that PMOS creates. By bypassing biology is not the same thing as improving biology. Okay, IVF does not resolve insulin resistance. It can actually make it worse. It does not improve chronic inflammation. It can actually make it worse. It does not address androgen excess. It does not improve gut health. It does not improve nutrient status. It can make all of those things worse. And it does definitely not improve long-term metabolic health. It can actually make it worse. So these factors don't just impact fertility. They impact your future risk of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, pregnancy complications, and lifelong health. Many women with PMOS can improve ovulation and fertility by addressing the root causes driven by their symptoms. Not every woman, not every situation, but many of them. And if IVF ultimately becomes part of your journey, supporting the underlying health of your body improves your chances of success. That is a win, no matter what path you land on. Okay. One thing I want women with PMOS to understand is that it's not simply a reproductive disorder. It has roots across neuroendocrine, metabolic, and reproductive pathways. And women with PMOS have higher rates of insulin resistance, elevated androgens, cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke, depression, anxiety, acne, hair loss, pregnancy complications, and metabolic dysfunction. So this is not just about getting pregnant. This is about creating health for the next 50 years of your life. So let's talk about diagnosis. To meet the diagnostic criteria for PMOS, you need 2 of 3 findings as an adult. 1 is infrequent ovulation or an absent menstrual cycle. Number 2, evidence of elevated androgens, either on blood work or through symptoms like acne, excess hair growth, or hair loss. And or 3, polycystic ovarian morphology on ultrasound or an elevated AMH. For adolescents, both irregular ovulation and androgen excess are required. But here's what I want you to know. Diagnosis is only the beginning. The diagnosis tells us what's happening, but it doesn't tell us why. That's where root cause work really begins. At the Fertility Dietitian, we want to understand what is driving symptoms. Why is ovulation not happening consistently or at all? Why are androgens elevated? Why is insulin resistant? Why is inflammation elevated? Why are hormones struggling to communicate effectively? This is where testing becomes incredibly valuable, the appropriate testing. So the first place I start is actually comprehensive blood work. Okay, I want to see a hemoglobin A1C. I want to see a fasting glucose and a fasting insulin, a full lipid panel, HSCRP, which is an inflammatory marker, homocysteine, uric acid, a complete iron panel, and vitamin D also. These markers tell us how the metabolic side of PMOS is functioning or presenting, rather. Then I want hormone testing. Estradiol, progesterone, FSH, LH, testosterone, DHEAS, SHBG, which is sex hormone binding globulin, prolactin, AMH, and a complete thyroid panel, because thyroid dysfunction and PMOS are overlapping. And when thyroid health is missed, fertility suffers big time. I also love Dutch testing because it provides a deeper look at hormone production. Dutch testing is using urine, actually dried urine. It tells us about hormone production, metabolism, androgen pathways, cortisol patterns, and hormone clearance from a different perspective than blood is able to. It actually helps us understand how hormones are behaving throughout the body rather than relying on a single blood draw. Additionally, gut health is another huge piece of the puzzle. The GI map helps us evaluate gut bacteria, inflammation, digestive function, metabolic markers, and opportunistic overgrowth. Emerging research continues to show that the gut microbiome influences insulin sensitivity and inflammation and hormone regulation and ovarian function. And then there's mineral status. This is where the HTMA or hair tissue mineral analysis becomes incredibly helpful. Minerals drive every aspect of energy production, hormone production, blood sugar regulation, nervous system function, thyroid health, and mitochondrial health. And if your body doesn't have the raw materials it needs to function, it cannot perform optimally. Once we understand what's happening, we can really start creating a much more personalized plan. The foundation is almost always the same though. So we're going to work on improving blood sugar regulation by increasing protein intake, increasing fiber intake, and build meals that really stabilize glucose and insulin. Strength training consistently, also very helpful for blood sugar regulation and insulin sensitivity. Walking, especially after meals, is really, really supportive. Prioritizing sleep quality and quantity is also super important for insulin response. Supporting nervous system regulation. We want to optimize vitamin D levels and correct any nutrient deficiencies, reduce inflammation, support gut health. So you're digesting and absorbing nutrients appropriately, but also making sure that bacterial balance is going to be metabolically favorable. And of course, we want to address any thyroid dysfunction if it is present. And all of this is going to help us support ovulation naturally. When women do this consistently, we often see cycles become way more predictable. Ovulation returns consistently, progesterone improves, energy improves, acne improves, hair growth patterns improves, and pregnancy rates improve. And perhaps most importantly, long-term health improves, because the goal isn't just getting pregnant, even though that's a huge goal that I know many of you have your heart set on as a priority. The goal is helping you become the healthiest version of yourself so your body can create and sustain a healthy pregnancy. And if you've been told that IVF is your only option because you have PMOS, I want you to know something. You deserve a deeper investigation. You deserve to understand what's driving your symptoms. And you really deserve a plan that improves your health, whether you conceive naturally, with ovulation support, with IUI, or IVF. PMOS is not simply an ovary problem. It is a whole body condition. And when we support the whole body, really incredible things can happen. I've seen women restore ovulation after years without regular cycles. I've seen them improve egg quality, and I've seen women dramatically improve IVF outcomes if they do step into IVF. But I've also seen women avoid IVF entirely, even after failed cycles of IVF. And I've also seen women finally take home healthy babies after years of being told that their only option was to keep escalating treatment. Your fertility is responsive. Your metabolism is responsive. Your hormones are responsive, and your body is listening. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who has been told that they have PCOS or PMOS and feels like they are running out of options. And if you're ready to stop guessing and finally understand what is driving your fertility challenges, I would love to support you. You can find information about working together in my Master Your Fertility program in the show notes or on my website. But until next time, please remember that your body is not broken. It is communicating, and our job is to listen. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Fertility Dietitian podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave a review to let me know what topics you want more of or less of. If you want to keep learning, subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out my website for more info on my private coaching program, Master Your Fertility, or my membership community, Fertility Blueprint. And don't forget my digital store. Come say hi on YouTube and Instagram. See you in the next episode.